Imagine a figure so revered, so central to one of the world's most influential faiths, that her name alone evokes a sense of peace, humility, and unconditional love. Have you ever wondered what it is about Mary, the mother of Jesus, that has captivated hearts and minds for centuries? What is it in her story that speaks so profoundly to believers across the globe? Mary is not just a character in a story, she is a symbol, a beacon of faith in the midst of uncertainty, and a testament to the power of humility and love. Picture a young woman, her heart pure, her spirit unshaken, chosen for a role that would change the course of history. What must it have been like for her, to carry the weight of such a divine calling? Yet, despite the enormity of her task, Mary remains a figure of quiet strength. She doesn't seek the spotlight, she doesn't demand recognition. Instead, she embodies a grace that transcends time, a humility that speaks louder than words. Can you feel the power in that humility? The way it draws you in, urging you to look deeper, to find the strength in surrender? And then there's her love, the kind of love that only a mother can know. A love so profound, so enduring, that it echoes through the ages. How does a love like that endure? How does it continue to inspire, to comfort, to guide, long after the moment has passed? As we explore the story of Mary, the mother of Jesus, let's delve into these questions. Let's uncover the layers of her reverence, the depth of her faith, and the unwavering love that has made her a central figure in Christianity. What secrets does her story hold? And how can her example influence our own lives today? Contexto histórico, nacida Nazar no primero século, Maria vivia uma Palestina sob dominio romano, caracterizada por tensos sociais e políticas. Let's step back in time and imagine the world in which Mary was born, a world far removed from the comforts and conveniences we know today. Mary's story begins in the small town of Nazareth, nestled in the hills of Galilee, in the 1st century. But this was no ordinary time. This was an era marked by unrest, uncertainty, and a constant struggle for survival. Nazareth was a humble village, often overlooked and forgotten by the powers that be. But beneath its unassuming surface, it was a place where faith ran deep, where people clung to their beliefs despite the challenges of daily life. Mary's life unfolded in a Palestine that was under Roman rule, a land simmering with tensions, both social and political. The Romans, with their iron grip on the region, imposed heavy taxes, strict laws, and a foreign culture that clashed with the traditions and values of the Jewish people. Can you imagine what it was like to live in such a time? To walk the dusty streets of Nazareth, knowing that at any moment, Roman soldiers could march through, enforcing the empire's will? To feel the weight of an occupying force, pressing down on your people, your family, your faith? This was the world that shaped Mary, a world where hope was a precious commodity, where every day was a testament to resilience. Yet, in the midst of this, Mary's spirit remained unbroken. How did she find the strength to hold on to her faith in such turbulent times? What was it that kept her grounded, even as the world around her was in constant upheaval? It's in this context, a time of hardship and oppression, that Mary's story becomes even more remarkable. Her life was not one of privilege or ease. She knew the struggles of her people, she felt the weight of their suffering. And yet, in the quiet town of Nazareth, she nurtured a faith that would eventually change the world. What was it about this young woman, living in such a difficult time, that made her the chosen one? What inner qualities did she possess that allowed her to rise above the circumstances of her birth and become a central figure in the greatest story ever told? As we continue to explore Mary's life, Let's keep this context in mind. Her story is not just one of divine intervention, it's also a story of perseverance, of unwavering faith in the face of adversity, and of a love that transcended the harsh realities of her world. What lessons can we draw from her life in this ancient, troubled land? How can her example guide us through the challenges we face today? According to the New Testament, Mary's story is one of profound faith and divine mystery. She was a young Jewish woman, living in a modest town, likely no older than a teenager when her life took a turn that no one could have anticipated. Engaged to Joseph, a carpenter, Mary's future seemed clear, a simple life in a small village, following the traditions and customs passed down through generations. But then, something extraordinary happened. Imagine, if you will, an angel appearing before her, delivering a message that would change everything. She would conceive a child, not by natural means, but through the Holy Spirit. How could this be? How does a young girl, still on the cusp of womanhood, respond to such a revelation? The weight of this news, the sheer magnitude of what was being asked of her, is almost unfathomable. Yet, Mary's response was one of acceptance, of unwavering faith. "Let it be to me according to your word," she said. In that moment, Mary's life was forever altered. She became the mother of Jesus, the one who would be called the Son of God, and her journey would lead her to Bethlehem, where she would give birth under the most humble of circumstances. Can you picture that night? A young mother, far from home, cradling her newborn in a stable, surrounded by animals and the soft glow of a starlit sky. Mary's acceptance of this divine calling speaks to a faith that is as deep as it is pure. What must have been going through her mind as she carried the child? Did she fully grasp the significance of the life growing inside her? Could she have imagined the impact her son would have on the world? The New Testament leaves us with glimpses of her thoughts, her quiet strength, and her unshakable belief in the path that had been laid before her. As we reflect on Mary's biblical narrative, we are drawn to the profound mystery of her role in this divine plan. Her story is one of courage, of a faith that moves mountains, and of a love that began long before her son took his first breath. How does such faith come to be? And how does it continue to inspire us, even today? Mary's story is deeply intertwined with the socio-religious environment of her time, a period when faith, culture, and daily life were inseparable. The world in which Mary lived was one where religious tradition and social justice were closely connected, and this is beautifully reflected in her Magnificat, a hymn of praise and hope that resonates through the ages. Imagine a society where the oppressed longed for deliverance, where the poor and the humble awaited a Savior who would overturn the injustices of the world. This was the world Mary knew, and it is this world that shapes her song, the Magnificat. When Mary visits her cousin Elizabeth, and the reality of her role as the mother of the Messiah begins to sink in, she doesn't respond with pride or self-glorification. Instead, she lifts her voice in a song that is both a personal prayer and a powerful declaration of social justice. In the Magnificat, Mary speaks of God scattering the proud, bringing down rulers from their thrones, and lifting up the humble. She sings of the hungry being filled with good things and the rich being sent away empty. These are not just words of praise, they are a call for a reversal of the social order, a vision of a world where God's justice reigns supreme. In this song, we hear the echoes of the hopes and dreams of the people of her time, a people yearning for freedom, for dignity, for a Messiah who would bring hope and renewal. How does a young woman, living in a small, occupied territory, come to articulate such profound themes? Mary's Magnificat is more than just a reflection of her own soul, it is a mirror of the collective soul of her people. It captures the longing for a better world, a world where God's mercy and justice are not just ideals but realities. Can you feel the strength in her words, the conviction that flows through every line of this ancient hymn? Mary's song, born from her deep faith and her understanding of God's promises, transcends her time and place. It speaks to the universal human desire for justice, for the upliftment of the downtrodden, and for the fulfillment of divine promises. The Magnificat is not just a song, it is a testament to the power of faith in the face of adversity, a declaration that echoes through history, challenging us to consider our own roles in the unfolding story of justice and hope. As we delve into the cultural and social influences that shaped Mary's life, we are reminded that her story is not just a personal one, it is a reflection of the struggles and hopes of an entire people. What does her song say to us today? How can her vision of a just world inspire us in our own lives? The devotion to Mary, the mother of Jesus, didn't emerge overnight. It developed gradually, gaining momentum in the early centuries of Christianity as theological understandings deepened and cultural practices evolved. From the very beginning, Mary held a special place in the hearts of believers, but as the early church began to define its doctrines and traditions, her significance grew exponentially. One of the earliest and most profound aspects of Marian devotion is the belief in her perpetual virginity. This idea, that Mary remained a virgin before, during, and after the birth of Jesus, became a cornerstone of Christian theology. It wasn't just about physical purity, it symbolized her complete devotion to God, her singular role in the divine plan, and her unique status among all of humanity. The idea of perpetual virginity set Mary apart, elevating her to a status that would be revered throughout the ages. Equally significant is the title Theotokos, meaning God-bearer or Mother of God. This term, officially recognized at the Council of Ephesus in 431 AD, wasn't just a theological statement, it was a declaration of Mary's central role in the mystery of the Incarnation. By affirming Mary as Theotokos, the early church emphasized that Jesus was fully divine and fully human, with Mary being the Mother of God in the flesh. This title solidified her importance in the Christian faith, marking her as more than just the mother of Jesus, but as the Mother of God Himself. These theological developments were not in isolation. They were influenced by cultural practices and beliefs, particularly within the Roman Empire, where the reverence for female figures like goddesses and matriarchs was already established. As Christianity spread, these cultural elements blended with Christian teachings, helping to shape and expand the devotion to Mary. People began to see her not only as a model of faith but also as an intercessor, someone who could bridge the gap between humanity and the divine. As a result, the veneration of Mary flourished, with her image and story becoming central to Christian worship and art. Her role as a perpetual virgin, as Theotokos, and as a symbol of pure, devoted faith, made her a figure of deep spiritual significance. Over time, this devotion would grow into one of the most enduring and widespread aspects of Christian practice, spanning both Catholic and Orthodox traditions. But what was it about Mary that inspired such devotion? How did these theological developments shape the way she was understood and revered? As we explore the growth of Marian devotion, we see a reflection of the early church's desire to understand and honor the mystery of God's relationship with humanity, a mystery that Mary, in her humble yet exalted role, embodied perfectly. What can we learn from this deep, ancient reverence? How does it continue to shape the spiritual lives of millions today? Throughout history, the veneration of Mary has taken on many forms, reflecting the rich tapestry of cultures and traditions that have embraced her as a central figure of faith. From the solemn beauty of Byzantine icons to the vibrant, joyful processions of Latin America, Mary's influence has woven itself into the very fabric of Christian worship across the globe. In the Eastern Orthodox Church, Mary is honored with profound reverence, often depicted in stunningly intricate icons that convey not just her image, but her spiritual significance. These icons, considered windows into the divine, present Mary as the Theotokos, cradling the Christ child with a serene, yet powerful presence. The tradition of iconography is deeply rooted in the spiritual practices of the Orthodox faith, where these images serve as focal points for prayer, contemplation, and connection with the divine. How does one capture the divine mystery of Mary in paint and gold leaf? Yet, through these icons, the faithful are invited to see beyond the physical, to touch the sacred through the depiction of Mary's holy life. On the other side of the world, in the vibrant communities of Latin America, Marian devotion bursts forth in lively, communal expressions of faith. Here, Mary is not just a distant figure in a church, she is a part of daily life, celebrated with fervor in colorful processions that fill the streets with music, flowers, and prayer. These processions, often centered around feast days like the Feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe, are a testament to the deep, personal connection that many feel with Mary. She is seen as a protector, a mother who walks with her people, sharing in their joys and sorrows. What is it about Mary that resonates so deeply with these communities? Perhaps it's her embodiment of strength, compassion, and unwavering faith in the face of hardship. In Europe, during the Middle Ages, Marian devotion also flourished, with grand cathedrals dedicated to her name and elaborate liturgies celebrating her life. The medieval period saw the rise of the Rosary, a form of prayer that became a cornerstone of Catholic spirituality, offering the faithful a way to meditate on the mysteries of Christ's life through the eyes of Mary. This period also gave birth to countless hymns, poems, and works of art, all seeking to honor Mary and express the inexpressible, the mystery of her role in the divine plan. Even today, the veneration of Mary continues to evolve, finding new expressions in contemporary art, music, and devotion. From the quiet prayers whispered in chapels to the grand festivals that draw thousands, Mary's presence is felt across cultures and continents. How has she managed to transcend time and place, continuing to inspire and comfort millions? What is it about her story that keeps it alive, relevant, and deeply meaningful to so many? As we explore the various forms of Marian veneration, we see a reflection of humanity's diverse ways of connecting with the divine. Through Mary, people of all cultures find a mother, a guide, and a source of unwavering hope. How will her story continue to unfold in the years to come? How will future generations choose to honor the woman who has been a beacon of faith for so many throughout the ages? Interpreting the historical figure of Mary is a task filled with complexities and nuances. The accounts we have of her life, primarily found in the Gospels, were written decades after the events they describe. These texts were not just historical records but were also shaped by theological concerns, intended to convey the deep spiritual truths of the Christian faith to early believers. As a result, separating the historical Mary from the Mary of faith, the one who has been venerated for centuries, can be challenging. The Gospels present Mary in various lights, as a young Jewish woman visited by an angel, as a mother nurturing her child, and as a figure of quiet strength who stood by her son until his final moments on the cross. But these portrayals were written with specific theological goals in mind, aiming to express the miraculous nature of Jesus' birth and the divine plan at work through Mary. This theological lens, while invaluable to understanding her significance within Christianity, also means that the historical details of her life are intertwined with symbolic and doctrinal elements. How can we then piece together a clear picture of who Mary really was? What can we learn about her life beyond the theological framework in which her story has been told? As the centuries passed, the veneration of Mary continued to evolve, influenced by a wide array of cultural, political, and theological factors. In different eras and regions, Mary's image was shaped and reshaped to meet the spiritual needs of the time. During the early centuries of Christianity, her role as Theotokos, the Mother of God, became central to Christian doctrine, reinforcing the belief in Jesus' dual nature as both fully human and fully divine. This development was not just about honoring Mary, but also about affirming key theological positions within the Church. Cultural influences also played a significant role. As Christianity spread throughout the Roman Empire and beyond, the figure of Mary was often portrayed in ways that resonated with local customs and beliefs. In some cultures, she took on attributes similar to those of pre-Christian goddesses, becoming a symbol of fertility, protection, and nurturing. In others, she was depicted as a queen, reigning in majesty alongside her son. Political factors, too, influenced her veneration. Rulers and governments often promoted Marian devotion as a way to unify people or legitimize their own power by associating themselves with the Holy Mother of Christ. The complexity of Mary's historical interpretation is further deepened by the fact that over time, different Christian traditions have emphasized various aspects of her life and significance. The Catholic Church, for instance, has developed extensive doctrines and devotions surrounding Mary, including beliefs in her Immaculate Conception and Assumption. Meanwhile, the Orthodox Church has focused on her role as Theotokos and her place in the liturgical life of the Church. Even within Protestantism, which generally downplays Marian devotion, Mary is often respected as an exemplary model of faith and obedience. Given this intricate web of theological, cultural, and historical influences, understanding Mary is not simply a matter of reading the Gospels. It requires us to consider how her image has been shaped and reshaped over time. How do we navigate these layers of tradition to find the real Mary beneath? And what does this complex history tell us about the ways in which faith, culture, and human understanding intertwine? As we delve into the historical complexities surrounding Mary, we are reminded that she is more than just a figure of the past. She is a living symbol, continuously reinterpreted and revered in ways that speak to the ever-changing human experience. What can we learn from this ongoing evolution? How does the story of Mary challenge us to think more deeply about the intersection of history, theology, and culture in our own lives? Despite the historical uncertainties that surround her life, Mary remains an enduring symbol of faith, hope, and maternal love, inspiring devotion and piety across generations. Her story, rooted in the humble beginnings of a young woman from Nazareth, has transcended time and place, becoming a beacon of spiritual strength for countless people throughout the ages. Mary's legacy is one of profound simplicity and unparalleled depth. She embodies the ideals of unwavering faith and complete trust in God's plan, even in the face of the unknown. Her yes to the angel Gabriel, her acceptance of a divine mission that she could scarcely comprehend, reflects a courage that resonates deeply with believers. How many of us have faced moments of uncertainty, moments when we are called to trust in something greater than ourselves? Mary's example offers a path forward, a reminder that faith, even when it is tested, can lead to profound grace. Beyond her role as the mother of Jesus, Mary's life is a testament to the power of humility and the strength found in quiet perseverance. She is often depicted as a figure of gentle compassion, a mother who knows the joys and sorrows of raising a child, and who experiences the deepest of griefs at the foot of the cross. Yet, in her sorrow, she does not despair. Instead, she becomes a source of comfort and solace for those who suffer, a mother not just to Jesus, but to all who seek her intercession. Mary's influence can be seen in the countless prayers, hymns, and devotions dedicated to her over the centuries. From the ancient Ave Maria to the simple prayers whispered in times of need, Mary has become a spiritual mother to millions, guiding them with a love that knows no bounds. Her apparitions in places like Lourdes, Fatima, and Guadalupe have only strengthened this bond, drawing people from all walks of life to seek her help and protection. Her legacy is not confined to any single culture or tradition. Mary's universal appeal is evident in the way she is revered across the world, from the grand cathedrals of Europe to the small shrines in remote villages. She is a figure who transcends cultural boundaries, speaking to the shared human experience of longing for connection, for peace, and for a love that is pure and unconditional. As we reflect on Mary's lasting impact, we are reminded that her story is far more than a historical account. It is a living legacy that continues to inspire and uplift. Her example of devotion to God, her strength in the face of unimaginable challenges, and her endless capacity for love make her a timeless figure of spiritual guidance. How does her legacy inspire us today? What can we learn from her example as we navigate our own lives, with all their trials and uncertainties? Mary's life and legacy offer a powerful example of how one person's faith can resonate through the ages, touching hearts and transforming lives. She shows us that true strength lies not in power or prestige, but in humility, love, and unwavering trust in the divine. As we carry her story forward, we are invited to embody these qualities in our own lives, continuing the legacy of faith, hope, and love that Mary so beautifully exemplifies.